Hello everybody! So this is a little behind the scenes video about how I made this is BookTube Educational video that you probably just watched. You could watch this before you watch that. I think you should watch the final product first though. I come to you in a t-shirt and like a cardigan, leggings, my hair's a mess because this is what I looked like when I made this video, apart from the filming day when I made a bit of an effort, but like this is what I look like when I work, you know? This is a really exciting video for me. I've made a video previously on my channel kind of discussing how I want to challenge myself with my channel, and I'm no longer going to be trying to put out weekly, bi-weekly, tri-weekly content on like my personal opinion reviews on books. I'm going to change things up. I'm going to try and make more difficult videos that take me a while to research, and this is one of those first videos. And so I really wanted it to be good because I felt like there was a lot riding on it. I felt like the announcement video I'd made about how I wanted to shift my channel in this way made a lot of people feel like, huh, what the hell is she talking about? And this is what I'm talking about, right? So I have a feature-length documentary that I'm currently working on. That's so much work, but that I'm currently working on and will be an even bigger testament to the kind of work I'm trying to make. But this is also the kind of work I'm trying to make. This I was able to make because it was the final project for one of my courses. I'm currently getting my master's in English literature, and in one course that I took called Aesthetic Pedagogies, which was the study of how people learn and how people are educated throughout history and literature. It was a very cool course, but our professor gave us the option to not write an essay, and I jumped at that opportunity. I was like, yeah, I will gladly not write an essay. Let me make a video essay. And he was like, sure. So that's how I did this. What's gonna come next is all of the clips that I put on Instagram stories chronicling how I made this video, because that's where I make these things, really. This is where, not make these things, sorry, how I chronicle these things. I'm really enjoying sharing tidbits and the background and the process of creating a longer form video like this on Instagram. So if you don't follow me there, I'll link it down below. But yeah, let's roll those clips. Hello everybody. I haven't talked to you guys in a while. Max. And I thought I'd do a book haul because I just got a bunch of books from the library for a new project. Hello. Sorry, I thought that was hilarious. Yeah, I got a bunch of books from the university library because I'm doing a project, and you're gonna see it. It's gonna be really cool. It's a YouTube video. And it's about autodidacticism. This is one of those moments where you realize that you've fallen into a university. Max, we can't do this again. The trope's dead. But yeah, it's basically about people that self-teach themselves, and I'm looking specifically at BookTube. How, like, whether or not BookTube is educational, whether it wants to be, etc. So I thought I'd show you, because I got, look at how many books I got. I got so many books, and I thought it'd be just fun to kind of show you, like, how I do some of my research. I'm gonna move this cat. Actually, instead of moving the cat, I'm just gonna move the phone. Even better. Alright, the first two are, for me, the most boring sounding. It's The Rise of Professional Society and the Intellectual Life of the British Working Classes. Ooh. These are, like, for historical context. One of my fields of interests is the idea of the amateur versus the professional. So these will kind of sink that idea down. Then I have this book. You know, one thing I don't like about library books is that they remove the cover. Loving Literature by Deirdre Shauna Lynch. This is cool because it's about people that just love books but also study them. Like, there's often this idea that people that like study literature don't need to love it anymore, or that like you lose your love of it when you study it, etc. So it's kind of about that. This one, I can't pronounce. I'll show you the title because I literally don't know how to read that right there. Reading this across Max, a cross-cultural history of autodidacticism. This is about autodidacts who learn the Quran by themselves. And like, even though that's a very specific niche type of autodidacticism, I still think it's really relevant. This one, I really like the font that they went with. The Day I Became an Autodidact. That sounds very good. And then I have some books like this one, which sounds so boring. The Organizational Basis of Leisure Participation. Like, wow. But there's one essay in here called Social Networks that I think might be interesting, because the idea of doing things for leisure but being part of a network, BookTube. And relating to that, I found this awesome book called Reading Communities, From Salons to Cyberspace. Next up, I made an error. This is The History of Reading Volume 2. I didn't realize, there was 3 of these that looked the exact same. I thought they were all the same book, and so I just grabbed one book, and now I realize it was Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3. So, this sounds really interesting and relevant. It has, part 1 is called Reading Communities, and part 4 is called Readers and Autodidacticism, so it sounds really good, but it's for a certain time period, so I might go get the others also to learn broader. Okay, I have 2 more. This one is called The Committed Reader, and the subheading is Reading for Utility, Pleasure, and Fulfillment in the 21st Century, which is exactly what I'm looking at how we read differently on BookTube than we do in an institution like a university. So, and finally, I have What We See When We Read by Peter Mendelsohn. This one actually isn't for this project. This is for my major research project, my documentary on Instagram poets, because of how visual Instagram. So that is currently my research pile. You can see it here. That's not everything I'm gonna look at. I already have a few things, like online that aren't available as physical texts and stuff. But what I wanted to say is that I will obviously not be reading these books. I'm going to be researching them. And it sounds like that's the same thing, but it's totally not. Because for each of these books, I'm just going to skim them. I'm going to flip through. For a lot of them, they only have one chapter that's relevant to what I'm looking at, and I'm going to just skim through that chapter, looking for keywords that actually matter to me. A lot of these books will end up being useless for my project, obviously not in real life. This is how, in my master's at least, I've, because I didn't use the library that much in my undergrad. If I'm going to be honest, I just found that the kinds of ideas that I was working with didn't need that wide of a research net. I would just have my topic, really focus on close reading a text, and then do my research online and just find relevant articles. I didn't find the need to really do this, but in masters, this is my favorite way of doing things now. I have the time, and I really only have the time with the final projects for each course when I have a few weeks to write them. If I have the time, I like to go to the library, I like to sign out a bunch of books, and just flip through them. Just have an interesting time. I feel like one of the things masters has definitely not taught me, but really further explained to me is the necessity for just ruminating. Thinking about something a lot and thinking about it from lots of different angles and giving yourself time to go through a pile of books and think about loads of different ideas you hadn't considered before. And then, yeah, you won't use them all and you'll only use a few, but you've thought. The perfect example in this pile is probably the book about the Quran, because it's how is that relevant to my topic? It's not really relevant, but I really think that if I flip through it, I'll find an idea or two that I wouldn't have considered and will be relevant. And the other thing to consider is that this project isn't an essay, it's a video. And for this video, I'm doing interviews. And for these interviews, I need interesting questions that will make me think and will push my project further and will make the viewers think. So I'm using these to generate questions because I want the people that I interview also to not just be answering generic questions. I want to ask them interesting questions that will produce interesting answers. So that was my little book haul for this one project. I hope you enjoyed that. Hey, so I'm trying the new focus. It's really cool. It looks like the portrait mode on iPhone 7 Plus and 10 and 8 and stuff. Wow. The only downfall that I see to this is that you can't do hands-free. Now I don't know about you folks that use Instagram stories. I never use normal, I always use hands-free. Let's do a poll. What do you guys use? Anyway, I wanted to give you an update on that project that I showed you guys 2 days ago. I showed you a bunch of books that I had gotten on the topics of autodidacticism, reading communities, because I'm making a video about BookTube. To be perfectly frank, I don't have a specific thesis yet. It's more of a research project at this point in that I have a few things that I'm arguing, but like I'd mentioned, I'm doing a couple of interviews, so I want to hear from those people first. I thought it would be fun to share some of the questions that I'm asking those booktubers, and I will reveal the booktubers at some point. I first want to make sure they send in their answers and I get their permission, etc. But I thought sharing some of the questions would be fun. Okay, here's one question. One problem that is often lofted at literary education is that it maintains a canon that isn't representative or diverse. How do you think BookTube is at being diverse, celebrating diverse books, and having conversations about diversity in literature? One question that I love, and it starts with a quote. Kathy Davidson said, "Books cannot be understood apart from the society that creates them, and conversely, no literate society can be understood without some study of the books it produces." And so my question is, do you think that BookTube gives a way for readers to play an important role in understanding trends in reading, and therefore make larger comments about society as a whole? And do you think it's something that a university can't do? Ooh. Okay, and I'll share one more question. It is impossible or very difficult to ascertain how much people have learned from BookTube. Because no one is tested, BookTube doesn't give you a degree or a hard skill, it's easy to assume that BookTube has no part in someone's education. So the question is, do you think that education can be entertaining? Do you see BookTube as educational, as a network of self-learners who are sharing what they've learned and felt? Hard-hitting stuff. So yeah, that's a little update on how my project is going. I'm actually now going to abandon this project until I get the interviews, and I'm going to focus on the essay I have to write about time theory. Both projects are due at the exact same time, and so I kind of have to juggle and balance things, and I really feel like I want to really take into account these interviews for my video. So, pop. Good morning, everyone. I'm up at the crack of dawn. It's 8:30, but for me that's way too early. And I'm working on my new video that I was telling you about. Whoa, I dropped the phone. If you've been following the journey, you'll remember I showed you a bunch of research books about reading communities and amateurs versus professionals. And I also shared some of my interview questions with you. So, right now I'm excited to show you one of my first interviews. It is Marissa from Little Spider 9! Marissa is one of my favorite BookTube channels, so I was so happy to have her.
There seems to be this misconception, especially in academia, that serious thinking or serious learning isn't done in an entertaining manner. It's not something that you necessarily enjoy. It's something that you have to work through and push through. And I mean, this is something I think that BookTube's greatest educational potential comes from the fact that it is a discussion-based platform. Unlike writing an essay in the solitary confines of the library and then turning it into your one professor, when you make a BookTube video and you share your opinions and your analysis of a book, you get almost instantaneous feedback. And so it's kind of like being in a analysis workshop. People get to practice articulating criticism.
That's your first little teaser. I will do another teaser with another interviewee later today. I'm having fun sharing the process, and I've made a highlights of it on my profile page if you want to follow along. Alright, I just finished editing another interview, and so I'm going to announce that I also have hey! It's Christine of Pulling Bananas Books with an incredible banana neon light. My goals for the people that I got to... I just noticed that one coat hanger is really like bling! One of my goals for my interviewees was to get a variety of subscriber count, because that completely changes your experience. Marissa, who I showed earlier, has 5,000 subscribers, and Christine has 350,000 subscribers. 370,000? My God, I don't remember. But it's a lot, right? And so how do those opinions change?
YouTube makes you read books and books make you smarter is what it comes down to, basically. I mean, books, again, open you up to new experiences. They make you more compassionate. They make you more aware of what people are dealing with that aren't necessarily so many benefits that come with reading, and the regular education system tends to make reading seem like a giant chore. If it's a giant chore, it's not something that you want to go out and do on your own. And when you come to BookTube, you kind of learn to love reading. I don't really think about my educational background when it comes to books. You know, I think about just how many I've read and how much time I've put into this passion of mine, consuming stories.
I just realized that Christine looks super, like, the exposure is blown out on those clips, and that's my fault because of, like, whatever angle I was using. The footage is actually really pretty. But yeah, I'm so excited about how this project is shaping up. Are you kidding me? This is gonna be great. Everyone, I like this bizarre little I don't know why I had to make a sound effect for it, but I wanted to give you all an update on the video I'm making about BookTube and education. I've basically decided to just work really hard on it today. I woke up today and got started on the script. I've spent the last few days editing the interviews, but also working on my other essay that's also due on Monday. You could really see the exasperation in that moment. Yeah, so I've been kind of like, I have these two projects and I'm like working a little bit, and it's driving me crazy. So I've decided to just work and try and finish this video today. Whew. So I've written the script. So the script is done and I'm so relieved. I think it's good. It's 8 pages long. I really thought it was going to be a lot shorter than that, but I, at some point, realized it doesn't matter how long it is. I'm just going to make it. I'm just taking a break, and then I'm going to film. So that's my next mission, to film the things I need to film. And it is finally sunny here. We had an ice storm a couple days ago. The weather! I'm just really glad that the weather worked out for me on this one. So I'm going to film, and it should take a few hours to film everything. And then I'm just gonna literally spend the rest of the night editing this video to get it done. I just need this off my chest. The final thing I wanted to do was show you the third and final interviewee. I told you Little Spider 9 and Poland Banana Books are in it. Lo and behold, our final interviewee is... It's Claire from Reading Bukowski. I love Claire so much. Here are a few teaser clips from our interviews.
If you have a camera and you have access to the internet, you know, you can make your own videos. And the difference is with universities that it is not people, kind of normal people, who make the decisions about what's in the canon or what is in. I think basically what BookTube is all those geeky, passionate people in your seminars and lectures who you kind of love. I think BookTube just goes and collects them all and just kind of puts them in the BookTube community. Passion is infectious, and passion is 100% what I loved about university, but I felt was a little bit lacking for my fellow students. But in BookTube, it's there in abundance. I think...
Hello everybody. Oh, I'm so tired. The second I started talking, I was like, nope, I'd rather be asleep right now. So anyway, I'm up again. It's like 8:30. This is brutal. Basically my parents are away for a few days and I have to wake up early. Usually I've been waking up at 7 to let the dogs out so that they can go to the bathroom and to feed the cat because she needs her food early in the morning or she yells at me. And basically I've been waking up at 7, letting them out and doing everything and giving Doug his seizure medicine and then going back to sleep for a few hours, but I switched it up. Now I'm waking up at 8, but I stay up. I literally worked so hard yesterday, like, wow, I truly feel that I gave it my all. And now I'm just so tired. I don't want to do anything. But I have to. So, the good news is I edited the video. It's edited now, right now. Once I get even just a little motivation, I'm going to go over it again, make sure that I didn't miss any details because it was so late last night. And then it's time to submit. Of course, it isn't as simple as just emailing the professor a link, like I wish it was. I need to send him 2 additional documents. First, a grading criteria, because everyone in this class did different types of projects, so he wants us to tell him how to grade us and what we think is like things he should be looking out for. So in my video, for example, I'd like for him to take into consideration the people I chose to interview and the way I edited the video and how accessible it is to a wider audience outside of the university. So it's cool that I get to do this so that he knows what to look out for, and doesn't grade it like an essay, because it isn't an essay, right? And the second thing is a reflection paper on the project. I'll tell you right now, I hate reflection papers, because by the time I'm done the project, I don't want to reflect. I just don't want to think about it anymore. And having to be like, I think it worked out like this and this and this. It always sounds repetitive. It always sounds boring. It's always me being like, I set out to do these things and I did them. So I guess it worked. Thank you. And it's like, why bother to write this? But I have to. Duh. Anyways, talking to you has woken me up, so I'm going to make some tea. I'm going to grab my laptop. I'm going to hand this thing in. I'm so excited to have it done. You will be seeing this video later this week. Exciting? Everyone, I am here to give you the final update on my BookTube video. Is BookTube Educational is what I've decided to title it, and it's gonna come out today. So get hyped. We're not far away from the release. I just wanted to give you a few more deets. What I wanted to mention was just the interview process. So the first step was trying to find people that I thought would work really well, then reaching out to them, then them confirming, then preparing the questions to send them. Writing the interview questions was actually really difficult. Well, like, it was fun, but it was tough because those questions were going to anchor the entire video. So they had to be very well thought out questions. So sent those off. I then got the footage back from the interviewees, which was really, really exciting. Every time I would get some footage and I was like, oh my god, what are their answers gonna be? Watch through those, edit through them, find the most relevant answers. I then wrote my script incorporating their answers, re-edited which parts were relevant according to my script and my new research, and then put the interviews in the video. But that's not it. Also sent release forms to all of the people I interviewed so that, you know, someday they won't sue me, which I know they won't, but it's just best to have it in writing that you have permission to use those interviews. The final step for me once I had finished everything was to send it to them. You don't need to do this, you know, especially once they signed the press release form. The footage is yours. You can do whatever you want with it. But this isn't a huge community, you know? These are my friends. As a creator myself, I know how scary it is for other people to edit your footage. It's just really intimidating. So I want them to feel happy and comfortable with the project. So I sent them the video, they all watched it and loved it. Marissa of Little Spider 9 actually said that she's proud of me. So I was like, thank you. Oh god. So yeah, now I'm just doing the final touches. I just made the thumbnail and etc, etc. I'm doing the little finicky things and I'm gonna post it. So I hope that you enjoyed that. I find it really interesting, fascinating, to see how other people work and what their process is like. So maybe you found this kind of fun too. As you can see, it was a school project and I used the library and stuff. I don't know what I'm trying to say there. I'm just trying to say you can see the process. You can see that I literally went to the library, signed out a bunch of books on things I didn't really know, read up, skimmed books, and chose the chapters and the things that were more important to me, and then was able to draft questions for the interviews, use those interviews to influence the script, and all of these things had to come together to make this video. So I really hope that you enjoy the video. I think it's really interesting. I'm very interested to see what the community has to say, because one of the reasons I wanted to make a video, and one of the things that I explained to my professor, is that I want to make a video about BookTube for BookTube in BookTube. This video isn't, I could have written an essay about BookTube and just given it to my professor, and it would have just kind of been a dialogue that remained in academia, and I didn't want that. I much preferred having a video that was talking about the community and that the community got to see and will be able to comment on and will be able to explore and build off of that. I've been in this community for 7 years now, you know, and the ability to comment on it and explore what it is that we're doing here and what some of the effects are is really interesting to me, and gave me, like, it was interesting because I asked the interviewees 10 questions because at the time I didn't know exactly where the project was going to go, so I just had 10 different questions, and I only ended up using, I think, 4 of them in the final video. And so that's 6 other questions I could have used. There's so many things to talk about and unpack here that it's made me like want to make more of these types of videos. Not just looking at BookTube and education, but looking at BookTube and something. Further exploring what we're doing here, because I think it's really interesting. So yeah, this has been a behind the scenes. I hope that you've enjoyed this. I'm really curious who's gonna click on this and who's gonna watch this. So I'd love to hear down below how you feel about these behind the scenes, if I should make them for other longer form projects that I do. And also, I'd like to thank my patrons that help support what I do, because this isn't a sponsored video. You know, it took me weeks of work to do, but I'm not gonna get paid very much for it. And so the support of patrons means a lot. So I wanted to shout that out, and I'll link my Patreon down below if you want to check that out also. So thanks very much. I will see you the next time I make something.